The Hayabusa X3 is in the shop, and today's a big day because today we are actually going to start stripping this thing down, and we're going to see if that engine right there will swap into that buggy right there. Really hoping that we do not have to cut the chassis and stretch it, but you know, time will tell. Whoa, whoa, hey, yo, down here. Pause for a second, pause. All right, so in the last videos, you guys brought up some really good points in the comments section, which, yep, definitely read them, and I try to literally reply to every comment. You guys brought up a lot of good comments as far as transmission durability and the power output of the Hayabusa versus the Rotax engine that comes in the X3. So at the end of this video, just because I didn't want to make you guys sit through, you know, a few minutes of it, basically I did a Q&A and kind of went through some of my thoughts about it and what my plan is so that it will be way cooler than an X3 and we will address all those issues. So, all right, I'm gonna let you guys get back to the video and stuff, but at the very end of this thing, we go talk about all that stuff. So if there's any more questions, let me know in the comments below and we'll address them in the next video. All right, later. Real quick, turn this thing apart. I was gonna take this rear fascia off, right? It has these rock lights on both sides of it. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just, you know, take it off, and I'm sure the plugs are like right behind it. So I started tracing the wire, and it runs up that tube, and then goes down along the firewall, goes over, no connector. So why is it that you would make something so that it is not serviceable? Like, why would you do that? You have to take that rear fascia off at 1,000 miles in order to do spark plugs, and then you have to take it off again at 2,500 miles to do coil packs and plugs again in between there. So whenever you guys are building something, always be sure to make it serviceable. Everything should have a connector on it so that everything can be removed individually. So, little pro tip. I don't know why the hell this is. All right, guys, as you can see, we're making some good progress, and I thought this was a good time to show you 2 pro tips. So whenever you guys are taking something apart, we have all been there where we're putting it back together and we either A, cannot find the hardware, or B, we've managed to put it together better than it was engineered because we have leftover hardware. So one way to kind of avoid this is to, you know, we all know the tried and true method, right? If you always just put fasteners back where they go. But another way that's, I think, a little bit better is put everything in a Ziploc baggie and label it. It's like this one, passenger fender. The other Ziploc baggie in here right now is for the driver's side fender, only because we're still early on in this project. And then the second pro tip for you guys is for electrical connectors. Put some blue tape around all of them. Makes them super easy to locate and find. And then that way also doesn't get dirt in there. Little pro tip for you guys. Well, we are making some good progress here. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm starting to get a little nervous because I'm looking at how much space that takes up and how much space we have. And then I'm looking at the Busa motor, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm starting to get a little nervous. Keep trying to remind myself the whole purpose of this is for science, right? The other thing I'm starting to kind of get a little nervous about, okay, the input shaft for the transmission is fairly far out. Now, if I'm gonna have, you know, that, so I think I'm gonna do is use the SCS gearbox. I'm like, man, that's gonna stick out quite a ways further. So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting, that's for sure. Overall, we're making some good progress, and I'm definitely starting to get nervous. I am curious, like the side-by-side blog guys, you know that, what did they have? They had a X3 XMR, and they put a snowmobile, I think it was an 800 two-stroke in it. I think it was. Man, how did they mount that thing? Do you guys remember? Have all the wiring disconnected. So took the entire harness off and everything. If all of it works, because I'm going to use half of the Can-Am harness, and then, you know, I won't need like the engine half. So I think, you know, can kind of like draw a line through all that, and I can draw a line through that. So I think once we go get the cherry picker, I think we can take this thing out of here. You know, ever since the shop was crushed, we had to move everything out in a colossal hurry. So what, it's been 3 years, and I'm still trying to figure out where stuff ended up. So legitimately, I'm not sure where the engine hoist ended up. I'm hoping it ended up in the shed and it didn't end up at like a buddy's house. See what's behind door number, aha, door number 1, check. Yeah, it's a mess in here. So, all right, skid steer. You know, I don't care what anybody says. I think a skid steer is the most useful tool any shop could ever have. You know, I don't know how you could justify one completely, but it's definitely fun. Favorite tool I own, for sure. Well, as you can see, like I said, still finding things from the shop incident. This clearly has not been touched since the Great Cave-In, so let's put this thing to work.
A few moments later.
Okay, new day, and it's a big day. Let's see if we can get that motor out of there, and then also I'd love it if we could kind of hang that one in here and try to see if it'll fit. A little bit nervous, but place your bets down below. Do you think that the Busa motor is at all gonna fit in there or not? I'm kind of leaning towards it ain't gonna fit, but let's find out. Okay, not exactly sure how people normally do this, but we're doing it with ratchet straps. So each ratchet strap's rated for a couple few hundred pounds, and this engine should not weigh more than 100 or 200 pounds. So, and just to make sure, there's a little bit of redneck ingenuity in here. This strap, I was worried about it breaking that plenum because it would want to walk over here and push against it. So got it held in place with 2 zip ties. Cannot think of a single thing that could go wrong with that. All right, moment of truth. Do we get it out or do we drop it? Next question is, what the hell do we do with this thing?
I already had that.
Like,
Or wait, it's right there.
all right. We've officially created a giant mess. Now, the real question is it gonna fit? And we gotta figure out how we're gonna store that little fella. X3 engine put away. Time for the Hayabusa motor to migrate its way in there. So place your bets. And as per usual, we do have zip ties holding this thing on the engine hoist. Let's see how close we can get it to, you know, the factory position. Can't go too much further forward right there, but the front of the transmission is like right there. So the front of the transmission, the engine is barely in front of it. Yeah. All right, well, let's pull the exhaust off. Hopefully once we pull the exhaust off, that'll allow us to like really wedge it. It sucks, like there's so much room right up in there, but I'm also thinking, okay, worst case scenario, that'd be a perfect home for the turbo to live. And it is fairly low this way, you know, just thinking like rollover situation. especially because normally there'd be these back bars coming off, right? I mean, they don't tie into anything, so they're kind of useless, but still, being down right here, it's kind of low enough. That's not too far off. Wow. So yeah, so she's working on making the cardboard template for the gearbox that hopefully is going to be our saving grace, and it is hopefully going to mount somewhere like right here-ish and basically tie, you know, the X3 transmission input shaft to the counter shaft sprocket. Well, it won't be a sprocket when we're done with it, but basically hopefully tie these two together. So, and then yeah, and then there'd be plenty of room down there to mount a turbo. Now that I think about it, that might not actually be terrible. Fitting an exhaust in there is not going to be super fun. We're definitely going to have some melted plastic, but overall, I think it might actually work. Son of a gun. I've only waited 4 years for this moment. Finally gets to come together. Unfortunately, Can-Am beat me. You know, designed, mass-produced, developed, tested an entire product that's going to probably be better than this, but we're here now. So, all right, that's all for me today, guys. So I'm going to keep messing around with this a little bit and stuff, and we'll have the next video ready for you. All right, guys. So sitting here staring at how I'm going to make all this work, and I realized that I was supposed to address, or I wanted to address, a couple of comments that I got a lot. So, and that is the Rotax engine, whoop, right there, makes more horsepower than the Hayabusa engine. Yes, it does. A turbocharged Rotax engine, which I have nothing against Rotax. The shifter cart that I used to race had a Rotax engine in it, and I loved it. It was fantastic, super reliable, made good power. It was awesome. Zero complaints. Love the X3 engine, hence why the race car still has one. But a turbocharged Hayabusa will definitely make more power than the Rotax. And then the one big thing that this has that the Rotax does not is a gearbox, because phase one for me is I want to just get this thing in here and I want to make it work. Because one thing that I am worried about, and I know a lot of you guys have commented on it, which is awesome and I really appreciate it, is I think that this is either going to be A, awesome, or B, it's going to shit the transmission out instantly. Like the Hayabusa transmission will just, you know, grenade instantly. So phase one is let's just make it work and prove the theory. Phase two is going to be I want to turbocharge it. And then phase three is I'm going to add paddle shifters and an auto blipper. If you look up a Radical SR3, it's a track-dedicated sports car. Not really a sports car, like a sports racer. It's kind of like an open-wheeled car, just with a full body, so it's not open-wheeled. So I don't know why I said that. But anyway, it has a Hayabusa engine in it, and it has paddle shifters and stuff with an auto blipper. So that is my goal and kind of my plan for this. So a lot of you guys said, you know, oh, that thing's going to grenade the transmission instantly. Yep, I'm concerned about it too. However, Radical SR3 has slicks on it, and you can flat foot shift those things, and they will do big bore ones that are 1500 and something cc's, and they don't grenade the transmissions. So I'm like, okay, it might work. And you know, Hayabusa transmission can handle a 6, 7, 800 horsepower Hayabusa with a massive drag slick on the back, you know, going low sevens. So I'm like, okay, that's a lot of load on that transmission holding together. Mind you, the drag racing, it's a very, very short, quick burst, and it does a grand total of what, 50 miles in a year? Maybe? No way, that's 200 passes. It is way less than that, right? So I know there are some things that still are to work out, but that's kind of my plan, and I hope that that kind of helps, you know, tie some of all this together as to like what my plan is. For right now, it's just gonna be like a push-pull style shifter, just like a shifter cart is. Probably even gonna just have the clutch on the shifter like a shifter cart is. And then, you know, like I said, once we prove the theory, after that, definitely gonna add boost and definitely gonna add paddle shifters. So hopefully that helps kind of explain some stuff. All right, guys, later.